Okay, let's give it a couple more minutes. How are you, Suzanne?
Hey, great this evening. Thank you for asking. I'm so happy to be here and excited.
Yes, I'm happy. I'm thrilled to have you here as well because we're going to be learning a lot from you today. And I can't wait to share that with everybody here, which, what you share with me already. So that's going to be fun. Let me type in this. Why is it not letting me copy and copy, paste? All right. Okay, let's get started here. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody, because we have people from all over the world, especially on Facebook. We never know what time they're going to be watching us on replay or live right now. So we have different regions from all over the world, right? So we got to cover all that. So again, my name is Jane Schaefer. Welcome to our my Friday night live. We've been doing this over 2 years now. I can't believe how time flies. And it's been fun. And once in a while, we have amazing guests to join me. And we learn a lot from our guests as well, because, that's everybody has something to share, especially if I have somebody like Suzanne, who is an health advocate. It is fun to learn from those people that have more experience than I have, and also have experience from other part of the other knowledge that she'll be sharing with us. So briefly about Suzanne, and I don't want to push her bio, by the way, so I'm gonna read this. She's been with LifeWave now. It's about 2 years, but most of the like about 6 months prior the beginning of LifeWave, she was more like a user because she has some health challenge that she needed to work on. But before that, she has been doing, let's see, the health itself, the mission of wellness since 2011. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yeah, that's when I started on my journey and was having a lot of health issues.
Okay. And then you are a mom, a wife, a certified primal health coach and wellness advocates, like I said. And this is the fun part that I thought it was like, okay, you know what, I think I want to learn more. She has a mission to transform every women's kitchen into a health zone full of delicious, I love delicious, I love food, nutritionists foods, and toxic free. I love that. I mean, I can't wait until you share with us. And then your journey started with, how did you come about in doing all this? I mean, what were you facing in 2011 to take you on this awesome journey?
Wow. So yeah, just briefly, because this is a long story and I'll keep it really short and hopefully another time we can talk more about it. But I've been a lifelong challenged person with my health. And it started as a baby and it went all through puberty and it carried on through most of my life. And it just came to a head in my late 40s, primarily perimenopause stage. And that was when I started really noticing a lot of health issues that were very different than what I had earlier, in that, I was chronically in pain. I was hormonally imbalanced. That was one of the main things that started with me. My entire life, I've had hormone imbalances. But the main thing was emotional wellness. I was a wreck. So basically, in late 40s, not only was my body feeling like it was falling apart, but I was having a lot of emotional trauma as well, and anxiety and depression. And that's what led me to functional medicine doctors. I knew that I had to get out of the conventional world of medicine because all it was doing was harboring and kind of creating a more of a perfect storm for disaster. Medications, birth control pills, um, pain medications. I was eating Advil like it was candy because I had migraines and I was in such bad shape. And I never will forget my doctor at the time telling me, well, don't get off birth control pills. I mean, at least that's helping your hormones, which we know now was a disaster. And the other was, well, there's nothing else you can do except pain. Ibuprofen, things like that are harmless.
Right.
Unbeknownst to me, I was wrecking my gut even further, my stomach. So
And Suzanne, that's not unusual for us to hear that at all. I mean, for a long time or prior to all this, I was talking to a friend earlier. I used to work for orthopedic surgeon. And at that time, all I knew was, he's writing prescription to our patient, right? And I mentioned this before prior episode, I have access to free drugs. Not that I was addicted to it, but it was easy access to me. Thank God I didn't have that issue that if I have pain in my knee or hurt my knee, my doctor said, okay, go grab a leaf, which naproxen at that time, it was a prescription drugs before it became a leaf that, it's the same strength. So how do you go from prescription drugs that naproxen that the doctor has to write to an leaf over the counter? And it's the same strength. So you kind of wonder, what changed? Nothing. It's just easy access for people. And easy access mean it doesn't always turn out to be good thing. And and then hormonal change. That's something that's new. I did not realize that you can have all those hormone issue like you said, when you were young age. I thought, that's something that you get when you go into menopause. This, so that is interesting that you mentioned that.
yeah, no. And the doctors at the time when I was in my 20s, actually my late teens, I wasn't in my 20s yet. The only solution that this doctor had, I was seeing endocrinologists, I was seeing gynecologists, I was seeing, all kinds of specialists, and their only solution was birth control pills. And
Yeah.
so I started on birth control pills, not for, trying to prevent pregnancy. It was to basically balance my hormones. And really all it did was mask all the symptoms for year after year after year. So I just kept, pretending that I was feeling all right and living through, on caffeine and medications and pain medications and pain relief, because that's really what I suffered from. I had a lot of body aches and pains and I had a lot of headaches. So, and then my stomach was a wreck. Oh my God, don't even talk to me about my gut. I've always had health issues with my stomach. And because, fast forward, when I found out and went to a functional medicine doctor who looks at the root cause, they go through the history. They go all the way back to when I was a baby, for God's sakes. And they find out how my mother was, how I was in the womb. What was my mother like? And she was a smoker. So I was already getting toxins when I was in the womb. And so at the age of 2, I almost died. And we found out later that's when I was heavily vaccinated. That's your highest. I remember a specialist said, so what happens at the age of 2? And I said, oh, terrible twos. And we laugh, ha ha ha. Yeah, no, that's when you get the most vaccines. And so I am one of those canary in the coal mine where the vaccines really hurt me. And for the rest of my life, it just messed up my hormones when I hit puberty. So the hormone balance was I didn't have periods. I was an athlete. I was exercising I was a track runner. And so a lot of athletes have a lot of hormone.
Exactly. They don't get their period because they put their body into such a stress. That's at least what I was told.
Absolutely. And I was doing that unbeknownst to me because I had a allergy to wheat and dairy and all of my favorite foods. And my mother, I come from a family of bakers. So we were eating, baked cookies and cakes and, dessert every night. And, also being an athlete, I was really taxing my body. So we definitely had a lot of stress. And so anyway, that's what happened to me in my late 40s. And then that catapulted me into learning everything possible about my health. And oh my goodness, 30,000 and up on cost of healthcare in the last, 10 to 12 years of labs and, constant, at the doctors and trying to figure out what was going on. When we finally did figure it out, but they were missing one key factor. They knew about it, but they weren't addressing it because this has been 10 years ago and they weren't as up on detoxification as we are today. And I had toxic burden load. So my main emphasis now is, and this is my, a lot of people feel this way, and doctors in particular that are really clued up with a lot of these chronic health issues, is environmental toxins are the root cause of chronic illness. And so I fell into learning how food was toxic and the foods I was eating was harming me. And I had to shift my whole way of being. And I had to give up. We had just remodeled our house and I built a 10-foot marble island to do baking. And
Come on.
oh, it was like a disaster. My husband said we almost got a divorce over that Marble Island. And I'm saying I can't bake anymore, for rolling out pie crust and making all of the cookies and all this stuff. So I had to shift, and as a result of that, I learned so much, and then I became everybody's go-to expert on, what to do for this element, what to do for that element. And then as I got further into healing, I had a lot of family and friends saying, Suzanne, you're such a natural at this. Why don't you just be a health coach? And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I have to go back to school. I was like, ah, but it worked out where I just felt it all fell into place. And so that's where I got into the world of toxic burden load, basically being the premise for, like I said, all of our health issues. And our foods are our first line of defense. So what you put at the end of your fork determines what is going on in your body. And so that really shifted for me.
Yeah. And then where did the food land? In your gut, right? And then, that's created a whole bunch of other issue in your body, because again, as we talk about all the time in our LifeWave community, is take care of your gut, because that's where everything starts and ends. And
Exactly.
that makes a lot of sense. And in your so that's journeys of kind of taking care of your body. You still have some issue, right?
Yeah. Well, we weren't addressing the toxic burden load, and what I'm gonna tie this in beautifully with LifeWave here in a sec. So they knew that I had heavy metals. I was overburdened with mercury and lead because of where I grew up. I grew up in a farming community in South Texas. So they sprayed all the time. We were, basically our backyard was fields of cotton, wheat, all kinds of corn, and there was constant spraying. And so I was exposed to that. We played in the fields, and we had animals and horses, and we were always riding and out in the country. We were taking advantage of the environment and that we lived in. And so I basically had toxic loads from that, and then I also had toxic burden from a mouthful of fillings because of all of the sweets and the goodies that I was eating. I was wrecking my teeth, but I also didn't know that my body was challenged with toxic burden. So I just want to emphasize that when you're burdened with toxins, your body can't defend itself from anything that comes into it because it's trying to fight those toxins. It is not doing its job to do whatever else it needs to do. So my teeth, I suffered from that. And so the first thing the doctors did was I had to go and get all the fillings removed. That took a big chunk of time, but it's very toxic to do. And you have to have a really good doctor, a dentist who knows what he's doing. But that's when I realized that we were trying to heal my gut without healing the toxic burden load or detoxing. So in about 2018, 19, I forget, it's been so long, it's been about 5 years. I was doing pretty well. I'm taking good care of myself. There wasn't anything obvious. I was doing some minimal detoxification, but nothing heavy. And my face broke out. And I ended up with this rash on my face that I've always suffered from skin issues, but this was like rosacea mixed with hives on my face. Now, for those of you who know me, I suffered my entire life with cystic acne. That's another part of hormonal imbalances. And I'm very, very conscientious of things on my face. It just was a, stress and trauma. So here's my face, all broke out. And I had to live with it for a while. I wasn't going to do any antibiotics. I wasn't going to do anything harsh. And I was using some over-the-counter or basically nutritional supplement. It's oil of oregano is a natural
Right.
antibiotic. So I was doing that and it was helping, but not clearing it, helping, not clearing it. I had so many protocols I was doing. So fast forward, here comes LifeWave. I wasn't sure how it was going to help me. So I started out kind of slow on LifeWave, but it wasn't clearing it. And I definitely had some emotional trauma last year. And so I ended up reaching out to John Chang, who is my fabulous, upline mentor slash sponsor. He said, Suzanne, your body needs a reboot and you need to do the rebalance. And I said, what the hell is that? Because at that point, I was still new with LifeWave and I was patching as best I could. But he said, no, Suzanne, you need to go look at the rebalance program and you got to do it. And it was 5 patches on my head every night. So I did that for a while and it was a big expense for me and I was feeling overwhelmed, but I stuck with it. So that started helping, but it wasn't until January that I started getting involved with LifeWave's team and our beautiful Q&A and our beautiful team chat that Nikki saved the day. She comes in and she says, all right, Suzanne, you're doing the patching, but we gotta shake this up a bit. And so we did a different protocol where I was using different patches every night or every week as opposed to just one type. And I found out after doing about 5 weeks of X39, then I did glutathione and carnosine and Eon. What else was I doing? Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever I was doing, she said, pay attention to which one works the best. And that's who you're going to stick with moving forward. And carnosine became my best friend. And it took about another 6 months, 5 to 6 months of really clearing it all up completely. And then when I'd stop carnosine, it would come back. And so then I would have to go back and put it on. And I have to say now it's been about 8 months and I feel like it's pretty much nipped it in the bud.
And that's interesting because David talked about detoxification at one of his webinar, and the two main one that he talks about was glutathione, right, to detox the mercuries and other heavy metal, and then the other one is carnosine, that detoxing aluminum, and I don't remember which other one because I would have to go back and re-listen the whole thing. But being that carnosine is one of his choice to do detox, that's pretty interesting that that's the right one for you as well.
Plus, it helped me sleep really well. Carnosine is my favorite for sleeping. And I will tell you, on a recent trip I just took, and with a lot of my clients, we've been in family, we've been trying carnosine because it's my favorite. And my sister, and she's on tonight. Hi, Brenda. My sister, Brenda, and my father, who's 98, who I have to tell you these stories about everybody here in a sec and get off of me. They used carnosine the first night and were wiped out. They slept like a baby. And then as the days progressed, they started getting agitated and having bad dreams and couldn't deal with them on their head. And so there were some very interesting, observations there. And then we know David has said, the founder has said he can't use carnosine at nighttime. So you have to find what works for you. And what I loved about Nikki's brilliance is saying, Suzanne, try them and see which works best. And I will have to say all of them worked great for me. I was sleeping well on all of them, but carnosine was the one that was helping my skin. And I just want to mention that when I broke out with this rash, I forgot to say, I knew intrinsically and intuitively, we are not dealing with my toxin burden load, and my body's telling me, wake the hell up, Suzanne, because you're going to suffer if you don't. And that was what it was doing. My skin's always been my first line of defense, saying, you're doing something that's harmful, get busy. You got to figure it out. And that was what I figured. The doctors weren't even addressing it with me. And so I also did the benefit of the brain balancing, helped my emotional strength. Oh my God. I have to say that was the best thing, is I became stronger with my emotions. I became stronger and more stable. My anxiety and my depression all kind of was starting to gain control. There was a lot to that.
Yeah, no, I love that. Again, everybody needs to pay attention when they come on to our patches and start using it. Right now, we like people to start with X39 and see how that go for, because it's simple. You just use one patch a day. It's address the pain, address the focus, address mental clarity, and increase the production of glutathione as well. I don't think it does increase the production of carnosine, except if you use the X49. I think that has something to do with carnosine a little bit there. But with X39, everybody come in and start using X39, and we add on other patches. But like Suzanne said, you have to pay attention to your body. I mean, nobody knows you best except yourself. And with me, I can use every patches at any time. Even energy, I can use at nighttime, because sometimes I get allergy and sore throat from, believe it or not, allergic to garlic. Right? I mean, of all the things, being Asian, we have lots of garlics in our food, and I love Italian food, and I didn't realize until years, and I blame it on my husband. I don't know where it came from. When I started dating him, that's when I started to get allergic to garlic. It's like, what? And it got worse as I had children. So I blame it on that, to them as well. So I couldn't eat garlic for years. I mean, especially raw one. I was like, forget it. When my dad cooked Thai food that has garlic in it. He has to make a separate sauce that has no garlic in it. It's like the taste kind of, not the same, but I wanted to eat it. And LifeWave was introduced to me, and I looked through some of the protocol, and it said energy. And it's like, you know what, let me try that at night, right? And on kidney one, guess what? I slept like a baby that night. It's like, oh my God, I didn't wake up with sore throat and reach out for one of those spray to numb the throat because I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
But I could sleep. And then that's when I found out that I could sleep with energy on and no problem at all. So one of those rare one that I can sleep with any patches. I mean, any patches at night, it doesn't make any difference. But then again, we have people that couldn't sleep with carnosine and couldn't sleep with glutathione because it's too much toxin, and then they wake up with headache. And David mentioned that a few times as well. So, any new listener, any new user here, pay attention. You're the only one that can determine what you can wear at night and when is best time to wear it. I can so that's awesome. But I want to get back to one of your the ebook that you wrote throughout all this time. And I think it is really, really interesting to see what's poisonous in your pantry. What made you come to writing that ebook?
Well, I kept running into people that were struggling with their health and they thought they were eating well. And we started looking deeply at what ingredients are in our products. And I have to say, I follow a bunch of my repertoire of knowledge comes from doctors that I respect. And I go to a lot of events where I've gotten to know these doctors personally, and I obviously respect them. So I use a lot of their information, and I'm basically just the messenger. And we started talking about the toxic burden load. And I realized my biggest challenge was when I was coaching folks, or even in my own house, was what are we eating every day? So it's every single day that what we're eating is impacting us, not the occasional foods, but every day. And so that's one part of it, Jane. But the other is restaurant eating. Oh my God, everybody's eating out now. And we've got this chronic illness going on rampant with all of these top 3 or 4 diseases, which is, obviously heart disease is still up at the top. You've got diabetes, and you've got obviously obesity is huge, but you've got cancer right there, neck and neck. And we started looking, everybody in the wellness, we call ourselves wellness warriors. We're like, what the hell's going on? And we noticed that these industrial seed oils that are in everything, they're also being used in restaurants. And so now we've got everybody eating out all the time. Most people grab a meal somewhere, or it's ready-made, or delis or whatever. So I started looking at that and realizing that we're being saturated with these bad foods. And then I started diving deeper into what these things cause. And it's all the top 4 chronic diseases we're all facing right now. And pain being the top of everybody's got pain.
Yes.
That's what I was going to mention about X39. I want to mention 2 things quickly about X39 that was also fabulous for me. And I have to say, pain management, I'm a fitness person. I'm always exercising, and I don't do it consistently enough. So I pull a muscle in yoga. I ride my bike a little too hard and my thighs hurt, my IT bands and stuff. So I'm able to live my life and do everything I love by just, what is it? We call it stick it and roll.
Right.
And roll. That's what we learned at conference. And I loved that term because that's what I can do. I go to yoga. I've got a little bit of an issue, but I can still get through yoga by patching my back and my groin and my areas of pain. But that was the main thing, pain. And then also with COVID, I let my hair grow out because I couldn't go get it cut. And I was one of those who had to go every 6 weeks to cut this mop. I have a lot of hair. Well, what happened was John mentioned to me after about 6 months of being on the stem cells, and he said, Suzanne, how's your hair? And I said, my hair? Long? And he says, no, but how's the quality of your hair? And I'm like, oh my God. First of all, I don't have to go and get it styled. I've saved a fortune in hair salon cost. Of course, I put it all back into patches. But my hair's blonde throughout the whole year now. Normally I end up, during the winter months, it gets mousy. So it's maintained its color. So that was a big one. John said, yeah, if you're fortunate enough, X39 can really do a magic trick on your hair.
It does. It really does. I mean, it's turned my mom's hair actually darker. I'm a little jealous, by the way, because she's I think her hair has less gray than mine. And even though you can't tell because I've been coloring and playing with my hair, because you when you feel useful, you just go do whatever you want to do. And it's like, you know what? I don't care what age I am. I'm just gonna go play with my hair colors. That's what but I do have to say, people it's like, Jane, I don't know you. I don't think you want to color your hair and changing your hair color that much because I have dark hair. So in order for these to stick, you have to bleach it, right? And that's really hard on your hairs.
Yes.
But people can look at my hair and say, they're healthy. And again, thanks to X39. So I have more time and more, I could go play with my hair and changing color. And I don't feel like I had damaged my hair at all. And you looked at it, it looks pretty healthy. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to continue doing it and patching at the same time because I can. And
Well,
that's the word that's the beauty of it because we can.
and we it's helping protect us. The patches help us protect us from EMFs. They help us protect, there's a certain amount of detoxification that goes on. Healthier cells mean they can do what they need to do to recover from toxins because that's really what it is. We are all constantly being bombarded with toxins. So you have to pay attention to that, but good for you. And just, knowing that you're protected. There's a certain level of these beautiful little patches that I have on me. I was going to show, I wear my Eon.
Yes.
Regularly here for stress and anxiety. I have to show you a few things. I've got my Nirvana on because this has been a game changer for me and a few of my clients. And my nephew, Brenda's son, when we were spending time with him recently, he wasn't sleeping well. And he said, I'm not sleeping well. And I've got, monkey brain. I can't rest. So we told him to put the Nirvana on, and I said, you can either put it on this side of your chest, under the collarbone, or this side. Well, the next morning I wake up, he's got 4 of these things on. He thought he misunderstood and said to put one on each side, and then he thought, well, I'm just going to double up because I want a good night's rest. He slept like a baby, and he said that he started wearing them during the day, and he came back with the results that he's very calm. He said, I'm dealing with stress much better. Anyway, amazing how simple these can be and the beauty of what they are able to achieve. And it's deep, it goes into
it is. And everything is, again, everything that you talk about, and we probably can talk for an hour about all this subject, right? So I'm sure that we'll have you back sometime in the future. And, that's, but I want to get back to your offer. And I think everybody needs, I print this out, by the way. So as you can see here, everybody, Suzanne is offering this quick, short, the ebook, the beginner of what we were talking about, of the pantry, the toxins and stuff. And I wanted to say this, it's one thing that you said in one of the industrial seed oils that can cause oxidative stress. And that's something that our patches help, especially Eon. And funny enough, we just listened to our beloved genius CEO talk about that on Wednesday, about the benefits of Eon and what it can do with oxidated stress. So again, we have solution. I love to eat out. I love food, period. Thank God I don't have any other allergy other than garlic, which now I found that I can eat a little bit more and have a solution. And that's what we offer. We offer solution to the stuff. So I don't mean to go out and stuff your face with all this bad food and, try to stay away from those processed food, right? We try to balance our life, and I try to balance my life as much as I can, using patches and eating healthy, but I'm not perfect. I still like my sweet. I still like my brownies and ice cream, and I still like eating out. So I do that. And my son said, after I come back from the gym one time, I said, Tyler, I want a cup of ice cream. And so let's go to Baskin Robbins, which is like around the corner from our house, and get me some ice cream. He said, Mom, you just came back from the gym. I said, exactly. That's why I go to the gym, so I can eat some of this stuff. So I know it's not like the most logical, but it is. So Suzanne, tell the audience how they can get a copy of this fabulous reading. By the way, is really helpful. And you said you have some offer.
Yeah, so on my Instagram, if you're on Instagram, I have an Instagram account, which is a lot of fun. I do a lot of posting.
Everything is on the chat now, by the way. If you are on the chat, and you can copy her email address, Instagram, and everything. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. So you can get on my Instagram account. I happen to have a link tree which has a lot of things on there besides just my call to action freebie, which is a 4-pager on the industrial seed oils. And it's very action packed. It's going to tell you why, the what, the how, the ugly, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's going to give you solutions. I have my list of the top 5 to 7 oils that you can eat. So I give that to you. That's free. You download that and you go on my Instagram account or my website and you can find the link to do that. And then I have within that buried is a link to upgrade to a $19.99 ebook that Jane is talking about that she's getting through. And that's powerful. I mean, that really, if you want to change your life, go in there and change your pantry and get that crap out of your pantry, because it's helping beautifully with my customers and clients and family and friends when we introduce the patches. I start them on the stem cells. We get you feeling better, and then you move on to, now I can tackle, I'm seeing results. All right, let's talk about what I can and can't eat. And that has replacements, you guys. I'm not all about getting rid of this stuff and then not giving you alternatives. I don't leave you stranded, because remember, I love sweets and I love to eat and I love to bake, and I still do. So that's the solution, is having, switching things out. And I'm going to give to the first 3 people who email me or reach out. You can direct message me on Instagram, however is easier for you. I'm going to give the first 3 people a free copy of the ebook. And all you have to do is, sign up for the freebie, and then we'll get your email and let me know you got it, and I'll send you the 16-page ebook. And then I have another offer for, what was my other offer? The ebook, and then there was something else. Oh, if you sign up for, again, this is going to be for 1 person, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe even 3. If you are to reach out to me and interested in trying these patches, if you're somebody that is new that doesn't know about them, I will do 1-hour consultation with you, and I will give you a sleeve after we've talked. I'll give you a sleeve that's valued at anywhere from $80 to $100 wholesale. I'll give you a sleeve, and you can try it out. So, yeah.
See? It's amazing, right? You just have to come on and join us and learn about all this amazing information, and trying to get your health in order. And that's why we're here. We're sharing information, because not everybody knows everything. I mean, even I have to say, even doctors don't know a lot of this stuff. So you have to be your own educator, or go out and search and talking to an expert like you that have gone through a lot. And usually the people that have the most to share is the people that have suffered most. To me, that's why, that's how we come to learn a lot. I used to know a lot more about liver disease because of my late husband, and I had the patient to pay attention to a lot of stuff. I mean, I think I kind of buried those information in the back of my head now, but I can dig it up. But so again, thank you so much, Suzanne. Let's see, is there a Q&A real quick? Chat is disabled, nothing on chat. What? Nothing on chat. Let's see if I can. I did not disable that, but copy.
Yeah, anybody can reach out to me and ask questions on anything I talked about today and Jane talked about. We're both happy to answer anything. We both are I didn't even get to touch on half of my testimonials.
All right, so let's see. I put it on the Q&A real quick, so I'm gonna leave this on for a few minutes so anybody can grab it. It's on the Q&A. Okay, and then it's srpdesigner@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And her website is yourwellnessdesigner.com. Okay, so did everybody have time to grab that before we sign off? I hope so. Again, Suzanne, you want to repeat your email address?
Sure, srpdesigner@gmail.com. And really follow me on Instagram, because that's where I have a lot of stuff. You don't even have to go to my website if you don't want to, because there's a bunch of my bio. And that is @yourwellnessdesigner. But you can also just put in Suzanne Roth-Paul, ROTH-PAUL, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook that way too. Yeah, I think that was.
And I did follow you, by the way. I seen some of your cooking. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I do post a lot on there, and I try to be pretty active on giving a lot of tips and tools that people can use And obviously my two documents are on the Instagram as well.
Well, that was fun. We went a little bit over, but I don't think anybody minds. So again, thank you so much for joining me tonight, Suzanne. That was been a blast, and I learned a lot, of course, and I can't wait to finish the 16 pages of quick reading, but educational, I'm sure. And then people that, if you're new here, just go back to the person that invited you here, and you need to reach out to Suzanne. You have all her information on Facebook. You need to comment anything at all. You want more information, just comment below on Facebook, and share the information, share the Facebook video again with other friends and family, and then let's spread this healthy living to everybody that we know. Okay, so keep last just keep Suzanne some emoji, the heart, and everything else, so she will come back here and share with us more information as we go. Okay, so good night, everybody. Again, thank you, Suzanne, and we'll talk to everybody again soon.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Alrighty, you too. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, are we done? Everybody gone?